Have you ever felt like you're stuck? You set massive goals, you promise yourself this time will be different, you attack your dreams with everything you have for about 3 days, and then you crash. You wake up 2 weeks later wondering what happened. The motivation is gone, the fire burned out, and you're right back where you started, maybe even worse off because now you're carrying the weight of another failure. Most people think the problem is them. They think they lack discipline, willpower, or that special something successful people have. But what if I told you the problem isn't you? The problem is you're using the wrong system. You're trying to climb a mountain in one giant leap when the ancient warriors of Japan discovered something far more powerful. A method so simple it seems almost stupid, yet so effective that it helped rebuild an entire nation from the ashes of war. Today, you're going to discover the ancient method that transformed defeated Japanese factories into global powerhouses, that turned ordinary warriors into legends, and that can turn you into someone unrecognizable a year from now. But here's the catch. This method requires patience, it demands consistency, and it will test everything you think you know about achieving greatness. Because this isn't about massive transformation overnight. This is about something far more powerful. The compound effect of getting just 1% better every single day. Before we dive in, I want you to do something. Subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment telling me one area of your life where you want to see real transformation. Not tomorrow, not next month, but genuine lasting change. Your comment matters because it's your first commitment to the process we're about to explore together. Let me tell you a story. Feudal Japan, 1580. There was a young warrior named Takeshi. He wasn't born into a samurai family. He had no special gifts, no inherited skills, no advantages, just a burning desire to become great. But Takeshi had a problem. Every time he trained, he wanted to master everything immediately. He'd practice sword techniques for hours until his arms felt like they'd fall off. Then he'd quit for a week because he was too sore. He'd study strategy until his brain hurt, then abandon it because it felt too hard. He'd meditate until his legs went numb, then skip it for days because sitting still was torture. This went on for 2 years. 2 years of starting and stopping, of intense effort followed by complete abandonment. Takeshi was getting nowhere. He was actually getting worse because every time he stopped, his skills degraded. He had to start from scratch over and over again. Sound familiar? One day, an old master named Hiroshi was passing through the village. He watched Takeshi train for exactly 7 minutes before he spoke. "You're destroying yourself." Takeshi turned, sweat pouring down his face. "I'm training as hard as I can. That's your problem." The master replied, "You're trying to become a master in a day. You'll never succeed that way." "Then how do I become great?" Takeshi asked, frustration thick in his voice. The master smiled. "You improve by 1 grain of rice per day." Takeshi stared at him. 1 grain of rice, that's nothing. Exactly, the master said, that's why it works. Here's what the old master understood that Takeshi didn't yet grasp. The human brain is designed to resist massive change. When you try to transform everything at once, your nervous system interprets it as a threat. Your brain literally thinks you're in danger and activates every defense mechanism it has to stop you. That's why willpower fails. That's why motivation dies. Your own biology is fighting against you. But when you make changes so small they seem almost pointless, something magical happens. Your brain doesn't register them as threats. You slip past your own internal defenses. You start building momentum without triggering resistance. This is what the ancient Japanese warriors understood instinctively, and what modern neuroscience has now proven with brain scans and laboratory studies. The master took Takeshi to a rice field. He pointed at a single grain of rice. "This is your improvement today. 1 perfect sword strike, not 100, not until you're exhausted. Just 1 strike done with complete focus and perfect form. Tomorrow, you add 1 more grain, 2 perfect strikes. The day after 3, you never skip a day, you never go backward. Just 1 grain of rice added each day." Takeshi wanted to argue. This is too slow, he thought, but something in the master's eyes stopped him. "Fine," he said, "I'll try it your way." The first week was torture for a different reason, not because it was hard, but because it felt pointless. 3 perfect sword strikes, he could do 300, 5 minutes of meditation, he could sit for an hour, but he followed the master's instructions. 1 grain of rice per day. Week 2, something shifted. Takeshi noticed his 3 strikes were sharper than his 300 used to be. His 5 minutes of meditation were deeper than his previous hour-long sessions. He was actually learning instead of just enduring. By week 4, Takeshi was doing 30 minutes of perfect practice. But here's what shocked him. It didn't feel hard. His body had adapted so gradually that he never experienced the resistance that used to crush him. The practice had become automatic, woven into his daily routine like breathing. Month 3, other students started noticing. They'd ask, "What's your secret? You never seem tired, you never seem to struggle." Takeshi would smile and say, "I just add 1 grain of rice per day." They'd laugh and dismiss it, then go back to their pattern of intense effort followed by burnout and failure. 1 year later, Takeshi was unrecognizable. Not just in skill, but in identity. He wasn't someone trying to be disciplined anymore. He was someone who simply trained. Every single day, without negotiation, without drama, the practice had become who he was. The master returned to the village exactly 1 year after their first meeting. He watched Takeshi train and nodded. "Now you understand Kaizen. The way of continuous improvement. You didn't try to become a master overnight. You just got 1% better every day. And now look at you. Let me show you the mathematics that change everything. If you improve by just 1% each day for 1 year, you don't end up 365% better. You end up 37 times better, 37 times. Because improvement compounds just like interest in a bank account. Each day's improvement builds on all the previous days. The growth curve starts flat, almost invisible, but it turns exponential. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Those first few months feel pointless. You'll look in the mirror and see no difference. You'll check your progress and feel discouraged. You'll want to quit 1,000 times. This is where 99% of people fail. They expect dramatic results from their small actions, and when they don't see them immediately, they abandon the process. But here's what the ancient warriors understood. They weren't training for next week. They were building a foundation that would last a lifetime. They knew that the man who can maintain 1% improvement for 5 years will absolutely destroy the man who improves 100% for 5 days and then quits. Takeshi eventually became one of the greatest warriors of his generation, not because he had special talent, not because he trained harder than everyone else, but because he understood something profound. Consistency beats intensity, every single time. The warrior who shows up every day, even when he doesn't feel like it, even when progress seems invisible, even when everyone else is doing more, that warrior becomes unstoppable. Modern science has now proven what these ancient warriors knew. Research shows that when you make tiny improvements consistently, you actually rewire your brain. New neural pathways form. Your basal ganglia, the part of your brain responsible for habits, takes over the behavior. What once required willpower becomes automatic. You literally become a different person at the neurological level. So how do you apply this to your life? First, stop trying to transform everything at once. Choose one area, just one. Maybe it's your health, your skills, your relationships, your finances. Pick one. Second, identify the smallest possible improvement you can make today. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, today. If you want to get fit, don't commit to an hour at the gym. Commit to 5 push-ups. If you want to learn a language, don't commit to an hour of study. Commit to learning 3 words. If you want to build a business, don't commit to launching next month. Commit to writing 1 paragraph of your business plan. Make it so small it feels stupid. That's how you know it's right. Third, do that small thing every single day for 30 days. No exceptions. No excuses, no negotiations. The weather doesn't matter. Your mood doesn't matter. How busy you are doesn't matter. You do the thing. Fourth, after 30 days, add 1 grain of rice. 5 push-ups become 6. 3 words become 4. 1 paragraph becomes 2. The increase should feel almost unnoticeable. If it feels challenging, you're adding too much. Fifth, trust the process even when you can't see results, especially when you can't see results. The first 3 months are a test of faith. You're building the foundation underground where nobody can see it, but that foundation is everything. Here's what will happen. Around month 4, people will start noticing. They'll ask what you're doing differently. Around month 6, you'll look back and barely recognize who you were. Around month 9, the practice will feel as natural as breathing. And around month 12, you'll realize you've become someone completely different. But here's the brutal truth. Most people watching this video will do nothing with this information. They'll nod along, feel inspired for about 3 hours, then go right back to their pattern of intense effort and inevitable failure. Because Kaizen requires something most people aren't willing to give: patience. We live in a world of instant gratification, quick fixes, and overnight success stories. The idea of getting just 1% better every day feels too slow, too boring, too insignificant. But that's exactly why it works. While everyone else is sprinting and burning out, you're building momentum that becomes unstoppable. The ancient Japanese warriors didn't become legends because they were superhuman. They became legends because they understood something about human nature that most people never learn. Small, consistent actions, repeated over time, create results that appear miraculous to those who don't understand the process. So I'll end with this question. Where will you be 1 year from now if you improve by just 1% every single day? What would your life look like? Who would you become? And more importantly, what's stopping you from starting today? Remember Takeshi, he wasn't special. He was just a regular guy who learned to add 1 grain of rice per day, and that simple practice transformed everything. Your transformation starts now, not tomorrow, not when you're ready. Now. Choose your area, choose your 1% improvement, and then show up tomorrow and do it again. And the day after that, and the day after that. Welcome to the way of Kaizen. Welcome to becoming unstoppable. If this resonates with you, drop a comment below telling me what your first 1% improvement will be. And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But the journey to mastery begins with 1 grain of rice, added daily, without fail, forever.